Hey, we're back. We're live. Happy to be back here. And I have a question. Is web design over? Is web design dead? It it's something that kind of lives rent free in the heads of people in my industry. And there's a lot of fear and anxiety around it. And I didn't really think it was customer side, client facing. Like I didn't think it was anyone else's concern. Like most people just run their business and then show up every day and then they need a website. They do the things. They have a business to run. And then a client brought it up, like just in conversation, like gauging, judging, asking my level of anxiety around the changes that are happening in the marketplace from an AI perspective and its influence on design. And while that's a question on a lot of people's minds right now, especially if you're really paying attention to some of the changes that are happening with Instagram and Google, and I thought that today I would unpack just a little bit. So here's the thing. Every industry gets disrupted at some point. Distribution is always changing and evolving. Technology has a way of compressing time. And we've seen it. We've lived it through newspapers and music and movies and cable television. Like we're seeing it now with the open web. Just by an extension, web design is threatened because AI is starting to build websites through basic prompts, text, voice, whatever, right? So are they good websites? No, not yet. But they will be. And sure, that yet is doing a lot of work, but hear me out. Like I said, distribution is always being shaken up. And big companies, these monopolies, they shape how people behave. They just have the reach to influence user behaviors and consumer behaviors. And social networks are massive gatekeepers. It used to just be Google, and then Facebook popped up, and there's been social channels, right? Last week, Instagram decided that they were going to allow Google to start indexing their content. That's big news. They're a small technology. They're all they have to do is install or build out technology to allow IP addresses, right? Internet protocol masking domains over IP numbers, and they can own a lot of web. They have a lot of users, and domains are literally 35-year-old tech. Like there's nothing keeping them from doing that if they wanted to do it. And with AI crawlers basically being blocked at the firewall by Cloudflare now, also newer news. It's interesting to see the sort of cause and effect of the actions of different companies and how they're trying to leverage their reach in order to grow their businesses. And the reason why I bring up Instagram is their network reach is so great. Like there are already businesses that don't have web pages and home pages or whatever you want to call them. Like you could go on Instagram right now or Pinterest right now or Etsy and run a legit business. You could build a business on there. Now you're beholden to them. Like when you start a business, you always have a choice, right? You can go to a marketplace that already exists and sell your goods, your wares, your services, whatever, and not own the customer, but you get inclusion into a network that already has a customer base. And that is essentially free. Sometimes there's small fees associated with it, but it's a free marketplace. And that's a great way to gain traction very early. But not owning those customers, it makes it hard to control the business. Or you can set up a website and own the customer experience and have direct communication with those customers, but you have to put in the hard yards to build out that business and get customers to it. That's why SEO is a thing. That's why paid search is a thing. Like that is different, and I'm not going to say more or less difficult. It's nice to have the control, but building it is harder. So it's 6 of one, half dozen of another, I guess you would say. And depending upon the market, it might be 70-30. Fine. That we can argue about that another time. But I would say consumer behavior always changes over time because it reacts to distribution methods. And as someone who is on YouTube 3 days a week, 11 a.m., come like, subscribe, leave a comment. And I don't use Instagram a lot. I'm toying with the idea of running some Facebook ads. I just had a really cool course on doing my own Facebook ads, and it looked amazing and awfully accessible. But I remember all of this reminds me of when I was early on in my journey. I got started in my stepfather's boutique web design company in the middle of Massachusetts, and I wasn't a designer yet. I just brought me on to help out with some marketing, do some cold calls, make sure the conference room had water. And I remember having a conversation with a local credit union, and they were not entirely convinced that they needed a website. People legit 30 years ago thought the web was a fad. They were unsure that this was something that their very limited marketing budget needed to include. And today, some people may think that about AI chatbots like ChatGPT, or even some of the AI agent bots like Zapier or something like that. But I don't think these things become immediately obsolete. Like, I know early adopters, the adoption curve. Early adopters are often passionate that this new thing is going to be the whole thing tomorrow. And then middle adopters are somewhere in between. They think they're smarter than the early adopters because they waited, and now they have more informed choices. And they're making more informed choices. And then you have the late adopters who think they're even smarter than the middle adopters because they waited the longest, and now they're making decisions with the most information. But every single one of the industries that have been disrupted, be it the bicycle 150 years ago, or the Pony Express before that, or newspapers, TV, music, like I said, we had LPs, and then we had 8-track tapes, cassette tapes, CDs, and then we get into digital distribution. Every single one of those compressed time and speed to market, and who has control and influence over that distribution. Every single one of those changes, just like the changes from network television to cable television to Netflix and TV Plus and everything under the sun now, every single one of those transitions took about 20 years, give or take a couple years. So if you're on WordPress or Squarespace, banging out Webflow, these tools, these apps, they're too big. Like, I don't want to say too big to fail. They will eventually all be gone. But the idea is they have too many users. There's too much inertia, and there's also a generational component here, right? I still interact with people. I have clients who are not computer savvy. Email is difficult. And that's fine. That's not a diss. That's just to say that the technical expertise can run the gamut, and some people are more resistant to change than others. And I can appreciate that I'm someone who's not very resistant to change. I've come on here and ranted about that before in the past. But as the number of web projects shrinks, right? A company may have had 100 open web initiatives in the past between ads on all these networks and paid search and SEO and all these different brand websites. They may have had 100 projects a year, just to ballpark it. And in the future, maybe 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that's only 10. Who's getting those 10? It's not going to be some upstart. It's going to be established players. It's going to be people with a track record, people who don't panic every time there's a big shift. People who they feel, because they're going to be super conservative with that budget. So all this to say, if you love what you do, if I love running my company, and I recommend others, I hate doing that, but just lean in. Don't stop. Keep doing it. The industry as a whole may be, sinking like Titanic, but it's not a threat yet. Even if the industry is collapsing, it's just the compression of time. And inside of that compression, there's more opportunity. There's better opportunities. So I'm not afraid of that future. Whatever we have to do in the future to pivot, to diversify, to meet people where they're at, my business will make those transitions in order to do that. Because at the end of the day, regardless of how we're getting these things done, the people we serve, people I serve, are not going anywhere. They're still driving up and down the street. They're still running their storefronts. They're still managing their restaurants. They're still serving people. They still have customers. Their customers still have customers. That aspect in real life isn't going anywhere. And that's why I think that the concern, the panic, the anxiety, I don't want to tell people how to feel, but it's not... It's going to happen faster this time than the 20 years, but it's not something to freak out and panic about at any point in the near future. If you've run a prompt in AI, or if you have an Instagram page, you're still going to be running things the way you run things. And the automation is still not going to be doing great work because it can't make informed decisions. So we're still here. We're still going to be banging out our things. So that's what I wanted to chat about today. And I wasn't, like I said, I didn't think I was going to chat about that today, but it was down the bottom of my YouTube live topics note. Like, maybe one day I'll get to that. And then as soon as a client brought it up, like, what are you thinking about AI and your job security in the future? And I was like, all right, if they're bringing it up, maybe this has some legs. So, and I know some sensational title and up here in YouTube's probably going to get a few clicks or whatever. And I don't mean this as sensationalism. I'm legitimately asking. I think it is over. It's just not over anytime soon. So anyway, that's what I got, yo. Hope you had a great weekend. I am excited for the week. It's Monday. We're going to go forward. We're going to bang things out, and we're going to get the work done. So I hope you have a great week too. And I don't have a thumbnail moment. Hadn't even thought about it until this very moment. Okay, inside baseball here. I've been inconsistent. There have been a couple of times when the microphone wasn't on. The key light wasn't on. I didn't have granola recording because I like to have the transcript. I add it to my note later so I can in the future just have a text record of everything that I've put in here. And this is episode 72. So here's the thing. I didn't turn on granola. I didn't copy my to-do. This is the thing about a to-do list is you have to actually go through it and check the boxes off to say I accomplished those things. That's the thing. And if you're not going to copy it, then what good is a to-do list? What good is a checklist for doing a great job with this show? So I think I've learned a valuable lesson here today, and I will start transporting the Go Live checklist onto every single note. I don't use the script. It's just an outline. I can't have a checklist note. The checklist has to be in each note. I think that's the big takeaway for today. So anyway, I repotted my plant. I haven't named it. You see? Looks happy, right? So happy. I don't have a gender for it yet. It's gender non-specific, but it's a plant. So let's not get crazy. Have a great week. I will see you Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern, right here, same time, same channel. And I think you should go forward and crush it this week. I am going to do the same. I'm super excited about it. So have a great week. I will see you soon.